Hey, Untamed television fans, it's your host, Craig Bielick, back with you again. And a special guest today with me is Jana Peterson. Jana is well, you know what? We're gonna learn a whole lot about Jana as we get going here. I've known Jana for a number of years. She works for Brigham City Community Hospital up in Brigham City, cleverly named Brigham City Community Hospital.
Yep.
But we're here today to talk about breast cancer. Okay. And Jana is a breast cancer survivor.
I am a survivor.
Survivor fighter. Both of those things.
Right.
On that. And we're going to talk a little bit about her journey and how that applies to you, because you probably don't think it applies to you, but it does. And that's one of the points of our show today is you don't think it's going to happen to you, but guess what? It just might, right?
That's correct.
So it was definitely not going to happen to you, right?
Well, I didn't think so.
Right.
And I put off having a mammogram for 4 years. And you mentioned I work at a hospital.
Right.
I'm right there in the building, did not make an appointment, walk over and have a mammogram.
So why not? I mean, why did you put it off for... I'm not trying to shame you or make fun of you, but there's a lot of people out there that are sitting there watching us right now that have not had a mammogram, that need one, and reasons.
One thinks it will never happen to them. You've had clear mammograms in the past, so nothing's going to change.
Feeling good?
Feeling good. You're not sick. You feel great. And you don't have breast cancer. And
right.
you don't need a mammogram.
Right. Did you have any family history?
Family history, not immediate, that would affect me. I did have some family history, but it was removed that they say that wouldn't have impacted me.
Okay, so feeling good, not really a family history.
No.
Put it off.
And had clear mammograms in the past.
Right.
So for 4 years, I put it off.
Why did you go during the fifth year?
On the fifth year.
Yeah.
Brigham City installed a new mammogram machine, a 3D tomography that has, I'm not clinical, so I can't explain what it all does, but I know it provides a clear picture, more precise.
Right.
And they had installed the machine. The technicians were asking employees, family, friends to come in and have a mammogram so they could learn how to use the machine. And I thought, you know what? I haven't had one for 4 years. I need to go.
I think I'm going to go.
I'm going to go.
So you went in. How was the experience?
Experience was great. It was no different than a 2D. It felt no different. There is compression, but I didn't notice any difference from a 2D mammogram. So it's doable. You can do that.
Right. So you got your mammogram. Feeling good?
Feeling good.
And then?
And then I have them tell me, Jana, you need to come in for a diagnostic.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, I've had one of those before, because they do look, they can see some areas that they want to look at closer.
Right.
And I'd had that before, and it was clear, so no problem. So I really wasn't too concerned. I went in for a diagnostic, had that, and then I was told I needed a biopsy.
Oh, okay.
So then it hits home.
Then you start getting a little more concerned.
Then you get a little concerned.
Right.
Okay, I have to have a biopsy now.
But that doesn't always mean.
No.
Let's back this up, too, because that does not always mean.
It doesn't always mean that it's cancer.
Right.
It can be something else.
Right.
The doctor, however, the radiologist who did my reading felt it was going to be cancer.
So he had kind of
an idea.
Kind of an idea there that it was.
So I did have the biopsy done, and the test results did come back that I had breast cancer.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
And
that's right.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So.
So what when that happened, when you got the news? I mean, were you at work? Were you at home? Where were you?
I was at work. And my first inclination is you have to tell your husband. I wanted to tell my husband and tell my family, and I'm telling them, don't worry, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm concerned for them, not as much for me. So then it was, I came to, the mammogram, the diagnostic, and then the biopsy, but then it's like, what's the next step?
Right.
And I really credit Bridget, our mammogram technician at Brigham. She helped me know what is the next step, what do I need to do.
Okay.
And it was surgery.
So it's pretty overwhelming at that point.
It is.
And They helped you.
They did.
They helped you walk through this whole thing, and your treatment program was surgery.
It was. I understand that with a diagnosis of that surgery, they have to remove it. So you will have surgery.
Yeah.
I thought about it over the weekend if I wanted to go out of town to have surgery or if I wanted to have it locally at our facility in Brigham.
Yeah.
Bridget assured me that breast cancer treatment protocols are similar. They have to follow certain protocols wherever you go.
Wherever you go.
So if I'd gone out of town or if I'd stayed in town, it would have been the same.
Right.
So I decided to stay in town, and Bridget made that appointment for me within an hour email that I had an appointment with Dr. Bryce, the surgeon.
All right, great.
So that was my first step.
Okay, first step. First step out of the way.
First
right?
step.
So
First
then
step.
the next step was what?
A second lumpectomy.
Uh-huh.
I had a lumpectomy, and you have to have clear margins. So when they remove that, they test and make sure you have clear, and I did not. So I had to have a second lumpectomy, and that is not extraordinary. That can happen. It's not unusual.
Right.
So I had the second lumpectomy to make sure I had clear margins. They send that specimen for testing so that you know what kind of cancer you have. And again, I'm not clinical, so I don't know all the medical terms, but I know there are 3 markers that they look for, positive or negative. And I ended up having small stage 1 cancer, and I had 2 positives out of 3, which is not the best, but it's good to have 2 out of 3.
Right.
So
So then surgery.
yeah, 2 surgeries, 2 lumpectomies. Then my next step was to go to, I was set for radiation.
Okay.
To have radiation.
Okay.
Then I met the oncologist, and there's a test available that he said I could have to determine what my reoccurrence rate would be. Breast cancer can reoccur within so many years, and it can come different places. So I had a test done, an Oncotype DX is what it's called, and it tells you what % reoccurrence rate you have. I ended up having a high intermediate risk, so the oncologist talked to me about having chemo.
Okay.
That was a total shock.
Boom.
Boom, because I
Yeah,
was
boom.
I was geared up to
Nobody
do,
likes to hear that.
No, I was
Yeah.
geared to do radiation. That's easy, I can get through that. But chemo came
So-
into play.
Surgery, radiation, and chemo.
I had 2 surgeries. I had to have chemo first,
Oh,
and then radiation.
and then the radiation.
And then radiation.
Okay.
So
Okay, but here you are.
here I am.
And what's your prognosis at this point?
I will have follow-up visits now for every 4 months, and I'll have mammograms. I've reduced my risk of reoccurrence to 10%. By
Right.
doing chemo, and radiation reduces it to 6%.
Right.
So by doing the treatment, hopefully I won't have a reoccurrence in 5 to 8 years.
Right. So what sort of things did you go through? I mean, there's so much. I know we can't get it all into this show, but with your radiation and your chemo and everything, I mean, that's kind of a rough patch.
It is a rough patch.
Did you work? Did you still work?
I worked all through it. I worked all through chemo. I would miss the day of chemo and have to go home early. I would have chemo on Wednesdays, and by Friday at noon or so, I'd have to go home. I'd start, and the weekend would be pretty tough to get
Right.
through. But the support I had with my family and the people I worked with, unbelievable.
Right.
It was truly amazing.
Right.
And I had other people at the hospital. We have other cancer survivors, breast cancer, that supported me through this too.
Did you find that when you made the announcement that you had breast cancer, people kind of came out of the woodwork to help you and tell you of their experience and kind of shore you up a little bit, maybe?
I did, and it also, the people I work closest with were going through the shock with me.
Wow.
Because they don't think it'll happen to the person they're working with either.
Yeah.
So it's been an experience for all of us.
And family and all that. Kind of
Family.
rough.
Well, I learned something with family too. I'm kind of an independent person. I've gone to doctor's appointments all my life alone. when I told my husband, I have an appointment, I'm going to meet the doctor, he asked if he could come with me. And I'm like, what? You want to come with me? And he
This has never happened before. This is very
exactly,
strange.
yeah. And he said, and I'll never forget, he said, this isn't just your journey, it's mine too.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is awesome.
So a journey,
A journey.
kind of a rough journey, but
But
you're here.
it's doable. It is doable. And how I looked at it, Craig, it's a short window in my life.
Yeah.
And I had calculated it out. It's going to be about 6 months, 7 months. That's a short time in my life.
Right.
That if I can, know that I've done what I can do for my health, and to live longer, and it's been worth it.
That is a great attitude. But with this is full of a lot of buts, isn't it? But
Yes.
it would have been better not to have done it. It would have been better not to have had to go through it by getting a mammogram.
Well, but the mammogram, the importance of that is I had early detection.
Uh-huh.
And so I will be a survivor.
Right.
Now, if I had waited a year, different story.
One more year.
One more year. The doctor let me know that don't beat yourself up for not having had it done. However, if you had waited one more year, we'd be talking a different story right now.
Right. So your message to the people that are watching out there today
Have
is
a mammogram
Have a
and do it
mammogram.
faithfully every year.
Right.
It can happen. It does happen. And I believe the statistic is 1 in 8 women
Yeah.
will have breast cancer.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And the other thing too is you might be out there watching right now and going, well, I'm a man and that doesn't matter. But
Right.
you know what? Here's the thing. You've got a mom, you've got a sister, you've got a wife, you've got a friend, you have a wife, you have a girlfriend. Hopefully you don't have both. But you have someone, you have women in your life, and you need
Right.
to be supportive and encouraging them to have mammograms also.
Right. Yes.
All good?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have energy back, and I'm good to go.
Great.
Go.
Great. It was great to see you.
Well,
And it's
thanks,
great
Greg.
to be here. And I thank you for sharing this message. I mean, if you've gotten anything out of this by watching it, you should know that Jana's tough. She can do it, and so can you.
So can you.
So
That's
get out
right.
there and have your mammogram. Brigham City Hospital is a great place to do it. Thank you for joining Untamed TV. I'm your host, Craig Bielik, with Jana Peterson, a friend of mine who now shares my hairstyle.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of like it. We look like we're going to the Sadie Hawkins dance or something together. Thanks for joining Untamed TV. We'll see you later. I'm Craig Bielik.